I got kicked off of TikTok.
Red alert, emergency. We got hacked.
And he grabbed it.
You're kidding.
Took it right in front of me.
It just says your account has been disabled.
If their Instagram got hacked and removed, Andrew's nodding like it would be over.
Welcome back to the Cypress Room, where we dive deep on influencing with integrity. This is a podcast for creators, and I am Meggie Honeycutt.
And I'm Christina Mascari, and we have another reaction video for you today. We are going to be talking about getting hacked.
Oh gosh.
Very scary, but this is real things that happen, and we want you to be prepared. We also want you to know what to do if you find yourself in a place where your Facebook, your Instagram, or your YouTube gets hacked. So we're going to talk about all three. We have examples from all three from creators that I follow that recently happened. And the funny thing is the person who went through the Facebook scam, I got the exact same email that they did. The exact same email. So we're going to actually share that email too. Things you can look out for, red flags when you're dealing with stuff like this, and just hear the experience. And these are people that went through it and got their stuff back. So I also want to encourage you, do not panic, because that's the first thing that happens when you get your stuff hacked, is that you panic and you want to get it back immediately. And I think sometimes people make rash decisions, especially when your livelihood is attached to your social media. So this is a good lesson to not immediately be so reactive, have some patience, try to gain your peace before you go chasing all these things, because you can make some really bad mistakes when you are, in that panic mode.
Yes. And we're also going to share maybe some strategies or insights into how to frame up your business that's yours, that can't be lost, like an email list, like your blog, different strategies like that. So everything isn't lost to you.
Yeah. And we don't want you to live in fear, because we don't believe in living in fear. We just want this to be an education, kind of like a case study, to see here's what happened to these three people and how they got their stuff back and how it ended up affecting them and what they learned. So we have three case studies.
And these three people are not people you would think would be easily fooled or hacked. So I think we can learn a lot from them, and to also put the protections in place, but to be aware that it could happen to anybody. But
and they're just interesting stories.
They are super interesting stories.
So the first one we have up that we're going to look at is a modern Millie. And I think we've talked about her on the podcast before.
She's
great. She's in education. She teaches people Instagram and TikTok growth mostly, but always has really good insights on just the industry as whole. And her YouTube channel, which she was mainly focusing on this year, was her main focus, got hacked recently. And so we're going to take a look at her story.
Red alert, emergency. We got hacked. They changed your YouTube channel to an Ethereum channel. We got access locked down. I'm making videos. They privatized public, but I can't update your channel name, profile picture because of security reasons. They privatized all of my videos, turned monetization off on some of them, replaced my entire banner image, my profile photo, changed my YouTube name. My playlists on my channel were playlists that linked to some random videos about how the hackers got access to my account in the first place. My YouTube channel, I have the main master login. I can give other people on my team user access or permission access. My master email did not get hacked. It was somebody who had permission to my YouTube channel. They were the ones that got hacked. Their email got hacked. And because their email got hacked, the hackers then had access to my channel through their email address.
Okay, so this is interesting.
Yes, it is.
And this shows if you are building out a team, how the hackers got access to her is because of permissions that she had through someone else's email. So Meggie has permissions on my YouTube channel. And this is why it's better to go through those channels and do permissions for people instead of giving everybody your master login to your YouTube. If you are growing a team, if you're working with an editor, if you have someone going in and answering your comments, please set them up with their own thing. It's very easy to do on the back end because of the access level that these people that have permissions had. They could only private things. They didn't have the access to delete things. So that's definitely a key learning right there.
Yes, but it definitely made me think of oh my gosh, I would feel so horrible if a hacker got through my access point But we also made sure when we set up my access point to do the dual factor authentication
Yes.
on both,
On both. So
which is key.
yeah. So you need to make sure, like, if you're setting somebody up, you need to ask them, first of all, don't just be doing it on any email system, like some random email system. I feel like Gmail is pretty good at not getting hacked. I've never had my Gmail accounts hacked, person would, knock on wood. So like if you're using a Yahoo or if you're using something, I don't know, just something that's not like has a good reputation, maybe consider that. And you really need to ask that person that you're signing up to do your protector notification set up on your email. Can you please change it to a strong password and save it somewhere else so that it's not easily guessable, like the street you live on or the pet you had, like that it has all those things where you have the uppercase, the lowercase, the special things so that it's not something that's easily guessable and something that you're not using a bunch of other places so that if it gets hacked in one area, then they have access to your email. So those are important things to think about as you're building out and hiring a team. Your whole livelihood, everything, like it is definitely, she doesn't put all her eggs in one basket, but it's definitely the thing that she wanted to focus on this year. So her like main thing where she's wanting to grow, where she's seeing like income and long-term success is taken away, which is very scary. Again, when you're in the content creation world, your livelihood is attached to these platforms.
Yeah.
And it could just go away at any moment. We don't own them.
Yeah.
It's
wild to think.
These full videos are very entertaining. Some of them are longer than others, so we'll link the full videos if you want to watch the whole story. But we're not going to be playing the videos in their entirety. But I do love the details. So if you're a person who loves the details, go and watch the whole entire video. But the next clip that I wanted to play is she talks about how having community actually helped her when her channel was under attack, because they changed it to an Ethereum channel, which I had to even look up what this is, but it's basically like Bitcoin cryptocurrency. And some of her people were so confused and they thought, oh, I didn't know you're changing to Ethereum channel. This is so interesting, commenting on it. And there's, links everywhere trying to spam people, just trying to spam her audience. And actually her community came to her rescue.
I noticed people were in the comment section, like defending me or like helping my community, specifically Jensen. Shout out to Jensen, 100%. I met Jensen last year. We were both in like the HubSpot YouTube community thing together. And he's just been so active in the comments of my videos when I couldn't be there, telling people what was going on. Like, hey, Millie was hacked. Don't click on these links. And he's just been helping clarify everything. And I just thought that was so cool that, I don't know, I couldn't be there for that. This happened hours before I even knew it happened, and knowing that somebody else was there for me, for my subscribers, for my people, had me feeling very, very grateful. You think getting hacked would make me cry? But that wasn't the thing that made me cry.
Wow.
How cool is that?
It is so cool because we talk about community all the time and the reasons why it is important. And as much as you hate for something like this to happen, to see your community rally around and say, oh no, I know this isn't Christina or Millie. Don't click on these links. She's been hacked.
Look at this. Like he saved her, he helped her. And it was because, he probably had that mentality. Like if this happened to me, I know Millie would have my back too. And like, I know this is her livelihood. So I'm going to help in any way that I can. And it's because she just had that connection of connecting with someone and networking just in her industry. Like those things are so important. It literally almost probably saved her channel and saved a lot of her community, probably lots of money from not getting scammed by these people.
Absolutely. I thought that was my favorite part of her story. And even how she said, oh, getting hacked didn't make me cry, but it made me cry that I had somebody who would come in and do that for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. So I thought it was really cool.
So it seems like, no harm. And then it takes another bad turn here.
Yeah. YouTube sends her an email.
I get an email, this email right here, saying that my channel was completely removed from YouTube. That was when I had like a sinking gut feeling like, oh shoots. All of my hard work over the past few years, what's going on? What's going to happen? So what did I do? In that email, it says, if you think this was a mistake, file a claim or file a report. So I filled out that form right away. 20 minutes later, 8:40, I get a reply from YouTube. People who review the forms, they replied to me and they're like, hey, we need some more info on your appeal. Fill out this second form. The second form, it allows you to upload screenshots or screen recordings, explain things a little bit more in detail. When my channel got hacked, I was telling my team like, hey, take pictures, take screenshots, take screen recordings. Let's document this. This could be a cool YouTube video, right? That's what my brain does. And I think that paid off because I was able to put all of that content into the form. And by the time I woke up the next morning, my channel was back.
But I want you to know that if you get an email like this, there is an appeal process. The same for Instagram, the same for TikTok. I haven't told this story yet, but I got kicked off of TikTok. I changed my link recently to be a deep link to my Amazon storefront. And I guess the way the link looked, it triggered TikTok to be like, I'm spamming people. Just because the link looks weird when you put a deep link on it. Like, you have been, removed from TikTok for violating da-da-da-da. So I knew it wasn't a scam because I literally couldn't log into my TikTok or open it up. I didn't get an email from somebody. It just wouldn't let me in. And I was like, oh my gosh,
no.
Oh my gosh. So I know that feeling that she's talking about because it's 549,000 followers and the content on there just gone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? Oh my gosh. So I panicked, but I had enough wherewithal to be try to work a couple of things. And I did finally find an appeal page. So you can always appeal. So that's my caveat to you guys is that panic wants to take over and you want to just freak out and do all the things. But just know that there's always an appeal process you can go through, but it's not going to necessarily be easy or quick. But in my case, I found the form, I filled it out, I said and I just said exactly what I did. I was like, I am so sorry. I changed my link to a deep link to my Amazon storefront, and I did not realize that was a violation of your policy. I am happy to change that link if you reinstate my profile for me. And that's all I had to do. So I love how, Millie not only shares her story of, I just had to go through these appeals and I had to be patient. And I love how calm she remained. I wonder if real life she was really this calm.
I know.
And she just took the appropriate channels to do it. And she did mention that she has contacts at YouTube and she reached out to them, but it was the weekend. So she was like, the thing that got it back was going through this appeals process. So she shares the two forms in her YouTube video. So if this ever happens to you, you have a link now to the forms that you go to if you ever get this email. And just know that it's not the end of the world. Because in the end, she did end up getting her channel reinstated. And it wasn't even 24 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
It was really smart that they documented and took screenshots and screen recordings of the process. I think that it's very, very smart.
Yeah, because she got in trouble for something that somebody else did on her channel, but they had no idea that it was somebody else because they were in there getting permissions and whatever. So when she was able to present all the evidence and be like, here is all this, it was not me, I was hacked and whatever, I think that's probably why it got resolved and turned around so quick.
I hope this doesn't happen to any of you, but I'll leave a link to both forms that I filled out in the description so that it's easy for you to find. I'm also grateful that I did go through it because I feel like I learned a lot. I learned where to find these forms and what forms to fill out. So hopefully anybody watching or even my students in my YouTube course, BSP course, I now have the steps that they can go through and I could hopefully help people get their channel back if something like this were to happen. And yeah, that's it. Alrighty, friends. I will see you.
So there you go. She's going to take what somebody meant for evil to take her down or victimize her audience. And she's like, hey, this is a teachable moment for me.
Yes.
And I can actually teach it onto my students. And now we know these forms and now we know the process that we have to go through so that people don't panic.
Making it into a teachable moment will definitely help other people, even just to, tell people, a 2-factor authentication on all of your people who have permissions.
Yeah.
Little things like that people think, oh, I could never get hacked. It happens.
It happens, especially because we have our passwords just saved everywhere and we double passwords and all those things. So those are all important things to think about too as you're expanding a team and giving permissions on your YouTube channel. Don't get freaked out about it. We're not going to live in fear, guys. We have knowledge now that we can move forward and make better decisions.
That's right.
Okay, now the next one I feel like is way more common. because I have seen this happen. It's been going on for years and years, and it still keeps happening. It's an Instagram scam, and it happened recently to Omar Takrouri. Am I saying his name? We know him from Think Media. He also just started a podcast recently. Happened to him, and he shared the whole Instagram story on his YouTube channel. And it's an hour long. So I have pulled out clips, but it is definitely worth listening to the whole thing because he takes you through the whole journey. And there are so many ups and downs on this one. We're not going to share all of them, but it is a hack that I have seen happen a lot. Yes. And actually it almost happened. Oh no, that's a different one. The podcast one is a different one that almost happened to my friend. But I have seen this happen to people in my small niche of furniture flipping when they only had like maybe 5,000, 10,000 followers. So it does not matter your size. Yeah. These guys are just out to get money, and we're going to share the whole scam with you because it has been uncovered. But let's first hear about how Omar got hacked.
And then I open up my phone, and then it just gives me this look, and I have screenshots, so maybe we'll throw it up. But it's just like, and then you can click a button that says, try to get your account back or something like that. I forget what it. And then I go and I put in my email. And then I put in my phone number. I'm like, this is weird. And then it says, all right, you'll be notified up to 24 hours whether you will get your account back. The light bulb came off. I had a friend who 2 weeks prior to my account getting shut down, and this is a very important piece in this story, is that she got her account taken down and she got it back in a day. She's like, I do have somebody that helped me get my account back. It costed me $2,500. And I think it's also important to note, bro, Meta verified. I pay for that $15 a month, right? Which is a hoax. Okay, sorry Meta, but like I pay you for customer service. You can't even get help unless you have access to your account. So like, what's the point of Meta verified? I got the 2-factor authentication. Like my security things are dialed, and yet my account still got disabled. So I think 15 or 20 minutes later, I get an email and it says your account has been permanently disabled. And my soul, bro. So then I tell my friend, I say, hey, it's shut down. She's like, okay, let me hit up this guy. And he sends me a voice memo, and it has a light Indian accent. He's like, hey, Omar, yeah, your friend told me about you. We could totally get your account back. It's going to be $3,000. You don't pay us until we get it back. And we also put you on a whitelist so this never happens again. Right. And so I'm like, okay, like honestly, where I'm at, maybe you're sitting like, I would never pay that. In my head, I'm like, if he gets my account back, I'd be willing to probably pay that.
Okay, this one scares me more than the YouTube
This
one.
is like blowing my mind.
Yeah, because like the thing too, when you have a bigger YouTube channel like Millie did or I did, I'm part of different programs, so I at least have one person at YouTube that I can email and be like, hey, this happened to me. Can you push me to someone? They're not in that department, but can you push me to someone? It's like a live person that works for YouTube. With Instagram, I don't have any of that.
But this is just wild to me, though, too, because the whole guise of this Meta verified is that in these situations, you will have resources. And like he said, if you don't have access to your account,
well, you had the 2-factor thing turned on too, which most of the people that I knew that got hacked had that too. And he's going to explain later in the video how all this happens. And like, remember how he said, this is very important. I reached out to my friend that I knew this had happened to her, and she gave me this guy's phone number, and he wanted me to pay him this much to get my account. Like, just remember that information. This is very Resetisa. Remember that. It's very complicated, but it is a whole system of this hoax, and it gets run over and over again. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper into the scam. They kind of unravel like how this all works, and they're going to explain it for us.
It's back like the emotions I felt. Okay. Like when I was at home and I realized I didn't have access to my Instagram, I honestly was like, I'll get a job. Like I was like, it's over. Like the saga, it ends. My friend is like, you can do it again. If you do it again, Omar, now you can really like, I'm like, I don't want to do it again. Okay, so this friend of ours, she's just like, this is all I did. Yes. And all she did was she sent a very basic email. She's like, hey, there should be one of these emails you should have gotten from Facebook
Instagram
or
itself.
Meta or whatever.
Yes.
And just reply and say, hey guys, I believe you got a mistake. Mm-hmm. If you need any proof of identification, I'll be more than happy to share that. But I believe my account got taken down by accident.
Right.
How long it took after she sent the email.
Yeah.
She said 10 minutes. So I send this email, sure enough. And by the way, let me say, the guy that was helping me, I haven't heard from yet, and hours have gone by.
Yeah.
Or Facebook replies in 9 minutes and says, we apologize, your account is back. I said, praise the Lord, bro. Like now I'm thinking like, bro, I ain't paying this guy $3,000.
So he got a contact from one of his friends, got on the phone with that guy, and he said, yeah, I got your friend's account back. I can get your account back for you. Tell me this information. Gives his email, his phone number, and the guy is like working on it. He's like, hey, like just hang tight for a couple hours. I'm going to be working on it on the back end, and I'll let you know. Like normally it goes through right away. I don't know why it's not going through. So he gets off the phone with this guy. In the meantime, he tells us this story about how he has another friend and is like, I got mine taken away. All I have to do is send on this email to Instagram. So he does that, gets his account back in 10 minutes. So clearly what he did is the reason he got that back. No money has been exchanged yet. He just said, once I get your account back, you pay me, which I think is like, that should be your first red flag.
Yes.
Why is anybody going to do work for free? Why is he going to try to get your account back? And then I guess maybe because it makes you trust him more. But to me, that's a little hanky.
Yeah.
Like there's no...
just money to get your account back at all
Yeah.
would be a red flag.
And I mean, I want to say this in a very sensitive way, but it was clearly somebody who was from overseas. He said the phone number was gnarly and the person had it was clear that English was their second language. So that's kind of, I mean, not always the case because a lot of people use call centers and whatever, but that is also like, okay, we're going to talk a lot about through this video about trusting your gut.
Do you decipher truth
I don't know.
and what's the right way to go and to get it fixed?
And you have a friend in front of you being like, this happened to me. I paid this money and I got my account back and everything's fine. Like someone in your life that's telling you that. That's the wild thing when he unravels and solves this whole thing. But I also wanted to play that last clip because he talks about just how much his value and his business is attached to this Instagram account. And he's like, well, I guess I got to go get a real job. Mastermind going on and all this stuff that he wanted to share on social media. And he was like, I couldn't. He's like, first world problems. But it's true. It's like you have all this great stuff in your business and you're wanting to promote your business and book new clients and all the things. And your Instagram is just gone and you don't know if you're ever going to get it back.
I know. And even if your worth and identity isn't attached to it, it's a big disappointment. It's a disappointing moment. It's a hard moment to work through to think,
what do I do if it's gone?
What was it all for?
Yeah.
Like,
So I just related to that and I definitely wanted to share that clip. Okay. So now you guys are going to have to bear with me because I tried to break this up and make it as short as possible, but he's going to reveal how the whole scam went. So he basically gets his Instagram back. Then he has a conversation with this guy who claimed he was going to get it back. And he was like, yeah, bro, I'm the one that got it back. And Omar's like, no, I did this. And then it came instantly. And my friend told me that if I did this, and he's like, no, well, I'm going to shut down your account. And Omar's like, fine, go ahead. Omar thought he was like, good. He's like, I got it back. They can't shut it down again. And then it gets shut down again.
oh, no.
So at this point, this is when he starts figuring out like, how does this guy have such access to my Instagram? And it all kind of like plays out. The whole scam unravels. So here we go.
Bro, we had you on a whitelist, but now your account, we're going to have your account taken down again. And this is when I'm like, I got my account back. Bro, take down my account. I don't care. Like I literally thought I had like the keys to the kingdom. I called them out. I say, hey man, here's what I think you do.
Yes.
I think you exploit people like me and you go on my behalf as a social media manager to try and get an account back because I was able to get it with a simple email. So you were trying to get it back with a simple process and then you leverage that extortion to then make $3,000. So then, yes, shortly after that phone call, boom, it gets taken down for the second time and it's the same scenario. I try to actually get it back. I don't get it back. So this told me that, okay, this is the guy. Like I put the pieces together, like this is the person who was going to get the account back. So the word here is ransom.
Right.
What they do is they take people's accounts down and then they hold it back as ransom and they say, you pay us the money and we'll leave you alone.
Right.
But the question is, how do they get known or how do they get connected? By word of mouth. Yeah. So they understand people that you're in relationship with online based on because my friend tagged me in her stories 2 days before.
Right.
I got taken down.
Yeah.
This person in this case paid him. Then my friend was the second person, and now I'm the third person.
They're using mass bots to spam report your account at once. So what they do is they line up these bots and they choose your account and they just hit go. And all these bots are just hitting report on your account.
At one time.
Yes, at one time. And what's happening is they're reporting your account for identity theft or like what people think is that there's a team of people at Meta that are personally shutting down accounts when they get a report. No, it just triggers a automatic response from Instagram and they just instantly take it down.
Whoa. Like, so the easiest thing to scam somebody on, to get someone's account shut over is, you know, impersonating somebody else. And the thing I'm so confused, though, is because he has Meta verified, shouldn't that trump everything? They have his license and that you have to go through this verification process to prove that you are who you are. So why should somebody be able to report you? Shouldn't the Meta trump that? Maybe they'll get there.
You would think so, because that's why people are making the investment of $15 a month. Because the way he's describing the scam, to me, everybody's vulnerable.
Everybody's vulnerable.
And nobody's safe.
It is a up and down, but he does finally have his account back. And he walks through the process of how he got it back. So if this ever happens to you, this video will be a great resource to you. But it just shows you this is how it's happening. So they're targeting one person. And because he, you know, they targeted his friend, probably because they got her name from another person, and do all the bots, whatever, know how to get her account back because they're going to go through the same processes that he ends up to just like appeal. And like, because she had tagged him in her stories, they're like, well, this is the person we're going to go after next. So once they target someone, fix their account, get it back, then they're going in, like watching their stories or watching somebody they've tagged in a post or watching somebody they've tagged in a reel. And then they're going like, well, we're going to go after this person because we know when this person gets hacked, they're going to go to their community and say, hey, did anybody get hacked recently? Can anybody help me? And that person's going to be like, yes, I know somebody that can help you. You just have to pay them $2,000. I got my account back. It's all fine. And they're like basically recruiting people that way. Isn't that insane?
That is insane. But my question is, isn't there a way, did he ever get a hold of a person at Instagram that can put up some kind of protections on your accounts when it keeps happening?
No.
Because even when somebody pays the $2,500, these people can come back a year later
and do the same thing.
it all over again.
Yes. Someone is doing 2 hours of work, they shouldn't be paid $2,500 for that unless it's some really specialized skill. And to be able to get a YouTube account back and to be able to appeal something, like I just told you, all I had to do was send an email to appeal. All Millie had to do was fill out 2 forms to appeal this. Like, you shouldn't have to pay someone thousands of dollars to do that.
Okay, here's my question though. So they're sending the bots to report this account. How are they actually getting it back?
By the same process that he actually got it back. They know where this form is. And since they have his email and since they have his phone number, which is what he figures out as he keeps getting it back and they keep shutting it off and it's a whole thing. You should go watch the whole video. He talks about this clip where he was talking about paying for peace and how he had a moment of weakness of like, why don't I just like give this guy the money and just pay for peace?
Like, something in the back of my mind was like, dang, should I have just paid the guy? Because my friend who paid the guy, her life went to normal.
Yeah, because I mentioned to you that like she didn't pay for her account to get back. She paid for peace,
right?
For this guy not to
mess with her,
like harass her for the rest of her life.
But like, technically he can do it again next year, right? Should I just pay this guy? He's like, Omar, listen to me. He's like, I know you're in like a vulnerable state.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you pay this guy, here's what's gonna happen. He's gonna just do it to somebody else in your world.
Yep.
So by you not paying him, you're actually prohibiting him and preventing him from continuing to do it with other people. When you put your vulnerabilities out there to people, like me just texting everybody, like my account's taken down, he's like, it puts you in a vulnerable place and people will take advantage of you. And what's crazy is this guy that I'm working with, he's 21 years old and he's like telling me this stuff.
I had to play that clip. It was like one of my favorite pieces out of the 16.
Paying for peace.
Paying for peace, and like the easy thing for him to do, because not that it would be easy because giving someone thousands of dollars is going to be hard no matter what. But his friend was like, no, like you did the right thing here because you're breaking Like you're
Yes.
breaking the chain, you're breaking the cycle, because if you pay him, he's just going to move on to your audience and attack someone that you've tagged or someone in your inner circle the same way that you got targeted. And I was just like, whoa, this is a metaphor beyond social media and a social media account.
Though.
Yeah.
It's like that when they talk about the version of being a peacemaker or a peacekeeper, like we want to be the peacemaker, the one who does the hard thing to achieve peace that lasts, not just like that momentary, like I want this conflict out of the way, done with, over. The easy way. I don't
the easy way, and not weathering through the storm, just being like, I need this feeling to end because it is overwhelming, and if I have the money, I'm just going to do it, instead of doing like basically the right thing.
Yeah.
The thing that you need, that you're going to actually have more peace about. Isn't it wild?
I know. I don't even have words. I'm like, wow, who would have thought like there so much could be learned from such a hard experience.
Okay, so the last thing I want to play you is just like his overall take and the lesson that he's learned from this whole situation.
I'll start off by saying this, that these platforms are rented space. So we do not own our audiences on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We don't own them. What you do own is you own an email list. And so the priorities of my promotional and even free content strategy is shifted. What can I own? I can own an email list. I can own a community somewhere. You have to have a consistent flow of getting people off these platforms and onto your email list. Now, the big question is, how do you do that? I think that's where your creative comes in. You can have people, you can actually have a free Discord or have a free community somewhere, maybe a school.com community or just a newsletter. Like you create a very valuable newsletter. So the next level is having that thing in place that would get people off the platform. And it honestly could be a downloadable, PDF. It could be a free course, something highly valuable.
Let's not just be like, okay, that sucked, but now I have my thing back and move on. Like, okay, everything happens for a reason. So what can I learn from this? And it's something we all know and we talk about here. You don't own your YouTube. You don't own your Instagram. You don't own your Facebook. You don't own your TikTok. They can kick you off at any moment. Like I said, I lost my TikTok for, and I could have never got it back. They could have denied my appeal. Same with him. They could have denied his appeals on Instagram and it would have just been gone. And there is like, no one can take your email list away. They cannot take your email list.
Your website, if you have a blog, your email list, these are not rented space. These are owned spaces. Mm-hmm. And so, I think it is really food for thought in, like he said, consistently investing your time in the places where it isn't just rented space.
Mm-hmm.
Because email lists and blogs and websites seem to really be underutilized anymore because we are so platform focused. But
because it's where important. The people are. But it is important too. And not everybody's going to come over to your Discord. Not everybody's going to come over to your email list, but at least the people who really want to support you and be with you are there. So we're putting our money where our mouth is. We're not ready to start a Discord yet, maybe in the future. But we are starting an email list for our supporters. So ask for your name and your email address. And we're going to leave that link down in the description. You can just fill that out. There'll be all the privacy information in there. We're not going to sell your stuff to anybody and we will keep it safe. And we're just going to see what we can build off of these platforms. We're going to put our money where our mouth is.
Yes.
So if you are a supporter of the Cypress Room and you would love to join that, I don't even have anything to promise you at this point. Or even tell you that we're even going to send you an email. I don't know how long it's going to be before we actually send an email out, but we're taking one step forward today in obedience.
Populating it is the first step.
Okay, Omar, thank you for sharing your story. Okay, the last one is a Facebook podcast scam that happened to a very famous person. I mean, I call him famous. He's famous in my realm, but he's a comedian, Crist, and he has a podcast, does stand-up comedy, has YouTube channel, has 10 million followers, something crazy like that on Facebook. And his Facebook actually got hacked. And this same scam actually happened to me days after it happened to him.
Yeah, the email came to my inbox, actually.
Email. So we actually get to read the email that he got because I got a similar one. But first, we're going to hear John's story, and he actually tells it very funny as well because he's a comedian.
We got an email. So you know who Candace Cameron is?
Yes.
She's like a Christian podcaster, influencer, makes a lot of Hallmark movies.
Wait, she in Full House, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have led with that. I mean,
Okay.
But anyway, we were talking about coming on her podcast, and she was going to come out to my show in LA
Nice.
in the DMs like a month ago.
Cool.
I got an email to info@johncristcomedy.com, which, hey, we're from Candace Cameron's podcast. We'd like to set up an interview with you. It's a warm lead.
Yeah.
Because I
sure.
know her. I've always sent back, hey, they want to do it. They want to do it. Like if I ever go on Fox News to do a hit, they call me beforehand to get a background, see if the audio works, see if the video's quality, see if your background's good, all that, see if your internet connection works. That's not uncommon. A pre-call call. Like, yeah. So she sends me this link to Zoom. So it's me, my publicist, and another guy that's like, now that I look back on it, I see all these red flags. His logo was the Facebook.
It was the Facebook logo.
The Facebook logo was his logo. If we're like, this is a great podcast. We're excited. Candace Cameron is going to talk about your accomplishments in your career. Now that I look back on it, it's very vague. Also pay you in the sum of $3,000. I wasn't aware of that.
You thought you were doing it for free.
Yeah, but it's a podcast. Obviously,
Right.
Nobody pays for podcasts.
Sure.
Yeah. So then he goes, we're also gonna live stream this on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, we need to check your settings. And he goes, that one's not working. Do you have another email that is associated with this account? And I put, and he captured it on the keystrokes or somehow. I don't know how the back end worked, but I didn't put his email in.
So you logged in on your side, but
I was on a screen share Zoom
and showed him you logging in.
Yeah. And the passwords were muted, but.
And he grabbed it.
You're kidding. Took it right in front of me. About 4 hours later, and somebody says, are you sure? And they sent me the photo, and I knew exactly. I go, dang it. Dang it. I wanted to be like, honestly, if we meet like at center court, I'd be like,
You got it to your cap.
Yeah, good one.
That's a good scam.
Yeah, great.
So his Facebook got hacked, which has like, I think he says 8 million or 10 million followers. I can't remember. And they were putting, I don't know how to say it without getting in trouble. Explicit photos of humans together.
Oh my gosh.
In different states of undress. Did I say that appropriately?
Yes.
And he wasn't able to get his face back for 5 days. And he's like huge. And he is a celebrity. He has Netflix specials and stuff. So for 5 days, that stuff kept going up. And he lost 500,000 followers, which is a lot. So my husband told me about this and showed me the video. I'm like, well, that's wild. This was from December. When was it? I think it was from like December 2nd and like December 3rd. I got an email from Candace Cameron Bure podcast saying the same exact thing. Like, we want to have you on the podcast and like, we need to set up this Zoom. Normally it's like they want to hold you for ransom to get it back. But they were putting all these explicit images up there with, Millie, it was like Ethereum, and they were trying to get people to buy into that, whatever it's called, cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Thank you. So with this, he still doesn't really know what the end game was. Was it just to like attack him and damage his reputation and to lose followers? Because there was never any ransom made, or were they just trying to get people to go entice and fish people in that content that normally wouldn't be watching it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Makes you wonder.
I know.
So how did he get it back?
I think he just went through the channels with Facebook to try to appeal and get it back.
Yeah. Oh
So I don't really know how to get your Facebook back if it gets hacked, but this one is making the rounds in DIYers. And I'm in this DIY group of like 150, content creators. And there was one going around like from Drew Barrymore that was very similar, like the same type of format, wanting them to get onto Zoom, wanting to access their Facebook to put it on there. And it all sounds great. Like, I would love to be on Candace Cameron Bure's podcast. I'm like, ooh, maybe we could talk about Cypress Room and whatever. So there is like that carrot that's like, oh, like I would love to do that. And it's not so big that it seems like out of, the norm, but there are some red flags. And so I want to show everybody the email, and I'm going to blur out all my personal information, but I want to read parts of the emails that were red flags. Okay. So the number one red flag, and this came in to you first, and you sent it to me, and you were like, this seems not real. But like, take a look at it. The first thing is, it's a Gmail.
Yes, that was my red flag.
Cameron Bure management at gmail.com. And just knowing her, she's an actress. She's been on Full House. She has this podcast. surely she has her own URL. I mean,
Yes.
I even have my own URL. Not
And
saying
I
that's
do, and I have
not saying that's the only indicator,
no.
but that would be my first thing that would just make me question it.
yes.
I read some excerpts to you. I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out to extend a warm invitation. That's weird.
Yeah.
A warm invitation. You can just tell that this person, that English is not their first language.
Yeah.
Just saying. If you're a wordsmith, you would just know. We would love your participation in an upcoming podcast episode, which revolves around the empowering theme of self-love.
Okay, that was my second red flag. I've listened to her podcast a handful of times, and I follow her on social media, and that just sounds very opposite of the message that
She puts out.
normally
She's about serving and
puts
loving
out.
others. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, all in like in a
So
service.
being self-focused seems a little off-brand for her.
Yes,
But
that's
if
exactly
someone
what I
didn't know
thought.
her, such a vague topic, and they don't ever go into explanation of why they think I would be great for that. Don't say anything specific about me. And normally when we pitch people to be on our podcast, we're like, we love your channel because X, Y, and Z, and we would love for you to come share with our audience your expertise on YouTube, on Instagram, on doing UGC. Like they're,
Yeah.
it's very specific.
Yeah.
But again, like, oh, this is a big podcast. Maybe they just send a blanket one out to a bunch of people and they don't really tailor it. But still, that was a red flag to me, is about how vague it was. And then, like John said, the fact that someone wants to offer me $2,000 to do anything without meeting me or talking to me is also a red flag. Podcasts and interviews are usually done for free. They're considered PR.
Yep.
And just getting your name in front of a fresh audience, you normally don't get paid to do that.
Why would she be offering somebody money
Yeah.
for her podcast? I'm sure she has no trouble getting guests.
Yeah. Well, and the
So-
reason that John fell for this is because he knows her and they had talked about doing this, like her being on his podcast and him being on her podcast. So that's why his defenses were down a little bit. But I love the funniest thing in that whole video. Like, this guy's logo was Facebook. And he like can laugh at himself afterwards. He's like, so dumb. Like, why did I fall for that? Also, this person signed their thing warm regards in like sans serif or Comic Sans. Like, there's 17 different fonts on here. That would kind of be an indicator to me too. But you know, hindsight is 2020. But that's
Of
why we get to
course.
break these things down so that you can see them. And like, this is again why it's important to be in community and be watching things so like you can learn from other people's mistakes.
Dude, I know some people, if their Instagram got hacked and removed, Andrew's nodding, like it would be over.
For
dude.
sure.
It would be over.
Identity is kind
Yeah.
of what we're talking about.
You'd be.
I love the idea of like never place your identity in something that could be taken away from you. Can't.
That is in the Bible.
You just can't.
That's
If it's
gotta
not,
be.
they should add
Yeah.
it. But yeah.
He's like, this will have no ticket selling impact on your career.
Yeah.
Negative,
prob-
no
probably not.
negative.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we got it back. It was a significant hit.
Mhm.
We got injured. We're still playing. It'd have no financial impact that way. And you still can, it will have a financial impact, obviously, because the amount of the videos that get seen. Well, might go less, but you could also argue those are 500,000 people that weren't active. Yeah.
But yeah, if you put it into your career, into your socials, it can all go away.
All of it. Every room that I've gotten into in the last whatever of significance is because of that following. Like from a therapist or whatever, it is a source of my worth.
So many good nuggets. People are learning from these bad situations.
I know. I think when you are a content creator, it's whether you realize it or not, a piece of your identity does
Mhm.
become wrapped up in your platforms, in your following. And I think it's a good gut check for people to say, like, wow, how much of my identity is wrapped up in this? And like, shouldn't be, because like he said, your identity shouldn't be in something that could be taken away.
Yeah.
And that
Even just your career or your business in general.
your
Forget about social
business,
media.
your bank
your kids,
account, your kids,
your family, your spouse, your home, yeah. I mean, it's like, whoa, we're getting deep up in here for sure.
yes. And I also think it's really neat how, even though he went through this and lost something, he's able to see the good in it, and that God protected him too from really a huge hit to how damaging it could have been.
Yeah. So final thoughts. I mean, we've talked about all these already, but I think the biggest lesson we can learn is trust your gut. I mean, don't live by your gut, because sometimes your gut lies to you. Sometimes it is fear. So really having enough discernment to sit there and be like, okay, this is a reaction my body is having. Why am I having it? And ask good questions. For us, I feel like we have the cheat code because I have Holy Spirit to be like, okay, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? Is this good or not good? Do I always hear him correctly? No, I don't. I'm going to be honest, but it's a muscle that I'm constantly exercising. So just when you're having that reaction of like something's off, you just got to be able to determine and work through, is this fear or is this really a warning sign? And that just comes, I think, with living life and going through those experiences.
Yeah, for me, it would be an opportunity to pause for a moment, too fast or make rash decisions at the height of a really emotional thing.
That's so
happening.
good, Meggie. That is so
Because
good.
I think that's the natural inclination, because
We just want to move through the pain so quickly.
we
We're
want
like,
it
I
over
can't.
with, done, back to normal settings, like
So patience and peace
peace.
and wisdom. It's all, Do you know anybody who these scams happen to? Have they happened to you? I want to know all the tea.
Yes, share your stories with us. We always love you guys' comments, and we're in our comments. So that is the best way to talk to us. Comment, DM us on Instagram. We want to hear from our audience. So
Are we doing favorite things today?
we should probably do our favorite
We should probably do favorite things. I don't think I have one, so maybe I'm just going to pick something I have on.
Okay.
Because one of my favorite things, Abercrombie. If I'm not buying it on Amazon or like Target or Walmart, I like affordable fast fashion. I'm sorry, but I keep it for a long time until it breaks down. But the one brand that I love is Abercrombie. I'm wearing an Abercrombie blazer. I'm also wearing some of their jeans today. They do have things that are very trendy, but they also have very classic pieces. And I'm 43, so I tend to lean more towards their classic pieces. And so Abercrombie is just one of my favorite things. Huge proponent.
Okay. Well, mine is a fashion item too, but it is from Amazon. And for a long time, I have loved bodysuits from Amazon. But I found a new hack, and it's okay. I may butcher the pronunciation of this name. It's Pumei, Pumeiy, and they do have bodysuits, but they have seamless, double-lined, long sleeve, short sleeve shirts that are very similar to Skims.
Not over the
I
bodysuit.
know. I love the look of a bodysuit, but the inconvenience of a bodysuit.
And sometimes you can see the line, the paint, like
Exactly.
the line on the pants. And I don't like that look.
So these shirts look like the bodysuit, but they are not.
Okay.
And they are double lined. So even the white is not see-through, very comfortable, wash really well. I actually like to size up 2 sizes just for personal preference. I don't love a skin like fit, but if you don't mind that, one size up
One
would
size
be sufficient.
Okay.
They are affordable, available in tons of different colors and necklines and sleeve lengths, and I'm a big fan. So
Perfect. I love it.
yeah.
Well, I hope you guys learned something today. This was just what I kept seeing all these scams pop up, and I'm like, you know what? Let's put them all in one place and talk about them, because I just don't feel like it gets talked about a lot. I think there's a lot of embarrassment and shame when your account gets hacked. Hopefully some of these things that happen to people and how they worked through it and how they navigate it would encourage you if it ever happened to you. And yeah, just let us know what you think down in the comments, and we'll be back with another video soon, and we'll see you next time in the Cypress Room.